One of the things Karen particularly enjoyed doing with Bernard's watch was going into other people's houses. She liked to see how other people lived. She knew it was being nosy, but it was very interesting. Karen had looked in a lot of people's houses, but the one she enjoyed visiting most belonged to an old lady called Mrs. Sadge. Mrs. Sadge had lived in the same house since she was a girl and had never changed anything. She still had the same cooker. She had the same pots and pans. The same furniture. Nothing had been changed. There was no television, but the house was full of the most interesting things. It was like looking at another time. One of Karen's favourite things was a musical box. Though if she wanted to hear it play, of course, she had to start time again. Though she didn't like to do it too often, in case it frightened Mrs. Sadge.
So what are you going to do about it?
Well, what can I do? I mean, it's none of my business, really, is it?
Well, somebody's got to do something. She can't just be left to manage on her own.
Mrs. Sadge had lived in the house forever, but it was only by chance that Karen found out she might not be able to stay there for very much longer.
It's a leg that makes it difficult.
Difficult? When I saw her, she didn't look like she could walk up the stairs.
Who are you talking about?
Mrs. Sadge, the old lady in the house that's never changed. Her grandson works for your father.
He's worried about her.
Why? What's wrong?
She had a fall a couple of weeks ago. Hurt her leg.
She's finding it difficult to manage.
She can't manage, Terence. That's the truth of it. Not in that house, anyway.
Well, she's not going to want to move.
She may not have any choice.
No, I suppose not. Still, nothing for you to worry about.
The next day, on her way back from school, Karen thought she would call in and see how Mrs. Sadge was. She looked very tired. And if her mother was right, she would never be able to walk into town and get all the shopping she had written down on her slate. Doing the shopping took Karen no time at all. Karen just picked up what she wanted and left the money. And when she got back, she left a note for the old lady. It said, I have done your shopping for you. It costs £5.63.
Afternoon, Mrs. S. How are you feeling today?
Oh, not too bad, thank you.
Well, have you got a shopping list for me?
No,
No?
no. I don't need any shopping today. It's been done already.
Oh,
The next day, when Karen called in, there was a message on the slate. It said, "Thank you for doing my shopping. If you have time, could you hang up the picture in the living room for me? I have made you some biscuits." The old lady must have taken the picture down to clean it, but found it too heavy to lift back up again. But it was no problem for Karen. In frozen time, hanging pictures was very simple. After that, Karen called in every day. She would start by reading what was on the slate. That was where Mrs. Sadge said what needed doing. And she never knew what she might be asked to do next. It might be putting up hooks. Or another day, it might be hanging curtains. Or doing the cleaning. And at the end of it all, she always found the old lady had left her something to eat and drink as a thank you. And sometimes there was money with it as well. Each day when Karen called at the house, the list of things she had to do seemed to get a bit longer. There was the ironing. The cat to be fed. There was silver to clean. And the brass. And at the end of it all, when she got home, she still had her homework to do. But she didn't mind. The important thing was Mrs. Sadge could stay in her own house.
He still hasn't done any.
At least, that was what she thought.
Well, he can't, can he?
Oh, come on.
No, be fair. He arranged for this woman to call in every day, but the old lady won't let her into the house. Says she doesn't need any help. She's already got an elf.
A what?
An elf. She says this elf comes in every day and does all the work around the house. Gets the shopping, does the cleaning. so she doesn't need anyone else.
Oh, dear.
All she has to do is leave out some cake and a drink of milk for it.
You're joking.
No, I'm not. Oh, and the milk has to have a straw. Apparently, this elf has to have a straw. I'm sorry, it's not funny at all.
It's a terrible thing when the mind goes.
Yeah,
I suppose they'll have to put her in a hospital.
that's what they're talking about.
You're looking awfully tired, love. Why don't you go and have a rest? Let your dad do your homework.
Me?
Are you sure?
Yes. And for goodness sake, use a calculator this time.
Up in her bedroom, Karen thought about what had happened. She had wanted to help, but it looked as if she had only made things worse. There was only one thing she could do. The next day, when Karen went round to Mrs. Sadge's house, she left a message on the slate. It said, "Dear Mrs. Sadge, I am very sorry, but I will not be able to come and help you anymore. Your grandson has arranged for someone to come in who will do everything much better than I did. Goodbye, and thank you for the cake." And she signed it E for Elf. At the weekend, Karen called in to check that everything was all right, and to look round what was still her favourite house. Everything was exactly the same, except one thing. The musical box had gone. But Mrs. Sadge was all right. She was fast asleep in her chair.
Dear Elf, this is to say thank you for all your help.
Karen keeps the musical box in her bedroom at home. It is one of her favourite things. It reminds her of another time.